just share with you guys what I read this month. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying I didn't read a lot. Okay, I didn't read a lot this month. I read 4 books. But what I will tell you guys is that I absolutely loved what I read this month. And to me, that is like what matters the most. Is if you're loving what you're reading, then I don't really think it matters all that much about how much you read. So I am so excited to just talk about these books with you guys and dive into them. So let's do that now. So the first book I read this month, you guys saw in a book haul, Cultish by Amanda Montell. Now, I was so excited to read this book, and I was just excited to get my hands on it, honestly. And if you know, or if you watched my videos before, I am in my cult era. So I am highly fascinated by cults, how people get into them, how people stay in them, people breaking out of cults. I am just mentally, I am just obsessed with it all. So I was really excited to get this book and read it. And this book more so touches on the more mental aspect of cults and things that have cult followings. I was a little bit surprised about this book because it didn't really touch on more so religious cults. It did touch on Heaven's Gate a little bit. Heaven's Gate, a few yoga type cults, but more so it focused on MLMs and brands having a cult following. And this book was all about the language used to kind of encapsulate people, encapsulate their mind and their attention, and how things can be said to kind of lure people in. It also talked about fitness cults Orange Theory, and there's another one, Lululemon. That's more so the I'm drawing a blank here. Orange Theory, and there was CrossFit, and yeah, so that was really interesting. This was a really good book, don't get me wrong. But in my personal score of it, I did rate it low. And that was for the writing itself. I felt like this book was very, very repetitive. The author, in so many words or less, repeated herself so many times. Every time I flipped the page, I felt like I was rereading the same thing. And then she just unnecessarily used big words that I never heard of. And just so many words that I was like, why wouldn't you just use something simpler than that? And I just kind of felt like she was flexing her education, but trying to say oh, you guys, I know all of these big words, I'm an author. And that turned me off so bad. Like I said, the premise of this book and the idea of it was amazing, and I love that. But I almost DNF'd this book because the writing, it was just horrid. I'm sorry. It was not great, okay? Like I said, a lot of repeating, a lot of overuse of big words, and yeah, so I don't remember what I gave this book. I always keep a note of it in my phone, but yeah, I don't know. It was wish that she would have touched more so on like the religious cult aspect, because like those are things that we do consider cults, like CrossFit and Orange Theory. Sure, like their mottos and their language and the way they speak to each other and address each other, yes, like it is cult language, don't get me wrong, but obviously like you just like wouldn't consider it a cult. But I guess the word cult is really up for interpretation, like what it means to you. Either way, would I recommend this book? I think I would, but just be on the lookout for like the repetitiveness. Next is a book that I have been sitting on for a while. I think I might have put this one in a haul many months ago, and it is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. And I actually really enjoyed this book, and I don't really know why I didn't read it for so long. Like, I've had this book for months, and I just like every time it was time for me to pick up a new book, I just like passed this book up, and I don't know why. This is about Delilah Green. She is kind of like the black sheep of her family, and of course her parents are dead, of course, and her like stepmother is her guardian. She doesn't have any other family, and she has a stepsister named Astrid, and they're just kind of like, they don't get along, they're not friends. When she turns 18, she ends up leaving her home and moving to New York to become like an artist, a photographer, and she is 30. So her sister is getting married, and she's like, come take wedding photos for me, I know you need money really bad, and like, do me a favor, I'll do you a favor. So her sister has like this like 3-week long like wedding like extravaganza full of like events and brunches and trips, and Delilah is just not excited about it and is like trying to find a way to like sabotage her sister, like her wedding, her life, everything. And in the midst of it, Delilah ends up meeting her sister's best friend, Claire, and she pretty much tells her sister like, I can get with Claire, like let's put a bet on it. And Claire like has her own shit going on, right? Like, she's a single mom, she has baby daddy like drama, and she is just like ready to like date, but like her baby daddy keeps giving her issues and like leaving the picture, right? Okay. And so when Delilah comes back, they meet, and like Claire doesn't remember her, and then Astrid's like, oh, this is my sister, like remember, and there's just like so much hard feelings like left behind, because Delilah feels like her sister like excluded her, and then Astrid just feels like Delilah never liked her, so it's kind of like back and forth like that. Obviously, I don't know if I want to spoil it. I don't know if it will spoil it. Claire and Delilah end up like getting close, and like trying to like figure out what their relationship is gonna be, because Delilah is very much like casual and Claire isn't casual and doesn't know how to be, and she's scared about that, and she's falling for Delilah and vice versa, and neither of them will tell each other, and there's just so much drama. It was a really good book. I did find a little bit, I felt like the dialogue was a little bit immature, just because you have to remember they're like late 20s, early 30s. I think that Delilah is like 30, and there's just like kind of like the way they would talk to each other, like the characters would interact. I just felt like it was a little bit immature. I just felt like that's something a teenager would say. And then something the author did a lot in this book was like the characters would be having their dialogue, and then she would say like the woman, or you know, they would be talking about Claire's daughter, like Delilah was helping her take pictures and like learn how to edit, and then it would be like Ruby, who was the daughter, and Delilah talking, and then the author would go, and the child did blah 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 blah, and I was like, that is so weird. Like, why would you say, oh, like Ruby, or you know, she, I don't know, there was just instances like that where I was like, why would you say that? And then just some of like the way they interacted, like I said, was a little bit childish. Like, oh, you know, Delilah blah 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 flicked her sister off, and I'm just like, nobody like does that. Nobody's just like sitting across the dinner table at 30 and they're like, oh, F you, like let me flick you off. I don't know, I just found that a little bit weird, and like, I don't know, it didn't feel realistic, but the story is really good and really redeeming in that aspect, so I feel like it really made up for like those weird, like awkward parts, and the ending was really good, and I think I want to read the other books in this series. That's how good it was. You know, despite like all the little quirks it had, it was an amazing book, and the story was super captivating, and I felt like the scenes were just so well written, and it didn't really feel like it got stagnant, which I really enjoyed, because besides like the relationship drama, there is like other things going on in this story that make it so good. So I don't know, I'm thinking about picking, there's like 2 other books based on 2 other characters in this story, and I'm really thinking about getting the other books. That's how good it was. Okay, I'm down to my last 2 books, but they're both my favorite. So which one do we talk about? I don't know. Okay, we'll save the big one for last. So another book that you saw in my haul was Queen Charlotte. This is a Bridgerton story, and this follows Queen Charlotte. She is from Germany, and her brother like arranges for her marriage to a prince, a king, King George, and she feels betrayed by her brother. Obviously, like, she's very much like an outspoken girl, like marches to the beat of her own drum kind of vibe, and then she's just kind of like picked up and taken to this new country across the sea, and like, oh, you're gonna be a queen, and she doesn't know who the king is. She's never met him. She doesn't even know what he looks like. She literally doesn't know anything about him, and before the wedding, she like tries to run away. She tries to like climb the wall and leave, and that's when she ends up meeting the king, who is like this gorgeous man, like beautiful to her, and she's like, oh, okay. So they end up getting married, and the thing about like his quirk or whatever is like he doesn't want to like be around her, and he says like, oh, you're like the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, like I'm so lucky that you're mine, but don't come near me, like stay away from me. And it's like the weirdest like situation for Charlotte, because she's like, how can you say that and then not want to be with me, not want to like sleep with me, not want to live with me? And the people around her, I'm sorry guys, like this story was just so good. Like I want to tell you guys everything about this book. There's so many different people in this book that just like play such a big part. So I just want to tell you everything, but I can't. So there's like a secret that the king is hiding, and he like goes to like this deranged doctor to like make him better so he can be like the perfect like husband and king and person for Charlotte. And he like goes through this intensive like rehabilitation, like she's supposed to. And obviously this isn't like a historically correct like book, but I know that they want to stick as close to like the English, like British king and queen kind of vibe, like 1900s. Was it 1900s, 1800s? I don't know, I'm not a historian, okay? But no, I do wish like they kind of like the author would have given Charlotte a little bit more fight. I don't know, I need to watch the show too, because I also like haven't watched the show yet. After I finished the story, I was like, I'm gonna watch the show, and I haven't yet. So maybe she's more headstrong. I don't know, I just feel, not that she was rebellious, but I just felt like she just was like a no-nonsense ass bitch, you know what I'm saying? And I wish like that would have shown through the entire story, not just like the beginning. 5 out of 5. This was such a good book. This makes me want to read like the entire like discography of Julia Quinn. And I even said in my haul when I talked about this book, I was like, I am not a period piece girl. Like, I don't like period pieces, but this book converted me. Literal 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Such a good book, okay? Last book. It's a short one this month, but sorry. Like I said, I just loved everything I read. So the last book is the end of a series for me. This is the last book, and I don't know how to feel about it. I also have been sitting on this book for months. Like, I bought this months ago, probably like 5 or 6 months ago, and I think I know what scared me away from reading this book. It was the size. I've never read a book this big. I'm very like, if it's more than like 100, or not 100, if it's more than 360 pages, like I probably won't read it, because I just kind of feel like anything more than like 360 is just overkill. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not even like, what? Like, you're not even talking about anything good. Well, I was wrong, okay? This book proved me wrong. I read Twisted Lies by Anna Huang, my girl. You know, they always say like never meet your idol, but like I need to meet Anna Huang. I need to like pick her brain. I need to pick her brain. I need to like meet. I need to see like where she gets her freaking like creativity for these books. Every time I finish a Twisted book, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite one. But now that I finished them all, it's so hard. It's, I don't know. Obviously, it's between this one, Twisted Lies, and Twisted Games. I don't know which one's my favorite, but they are all so good. Let's get into it. This book is about Stella Alonso and Christian Harper, and they live in the same luxury apartment complex that Christian owns. He's like a billionaire CEO, extraordinaire, rich guy. We love that. We stand. And Stella is a like Instagram influencer. She like gets brand deals and is really big in like the fashion world, and she feels like her growth, that like influencer wise, has like gone stagnant, and she needs like something like push her over to like 1 million. I think she's at like 800,000 followers on Instagram, and she needs to get to 1 million. She's trying to secure like this really big brand deal with like this high luxury designer, and Christian is like obsessed with Stella. He is infatuated by her and just like obsessed with her, and they end up like running into each other, and she's like, I need, pretty much in so many words or less, she's like, I need a fake boyfriend to like post about and get me to 1 million. wasn't a total doucher. Like, he was like hard and cold, but like he still like, it wasn't like he was like pretending not to have a heart. And that's what I loved about him so much, is like he really was a sweet character and loving and caring, and without like, oh, you know, like I'm an asshole. So that's what I loved about him. Anyways, as all of Anna Wong's stories go, they end up falling in love, and or going to the road of falling in love, and Stella finds out a secret about Christian, that kind of like third act breakup kind of vibe. There's just things that happen. Like, Stella has a stalker, and Christian like really wants to find like who's stalking Stella, because he's like this security tech bro with like an amazing security team. And there's just so many things that happen, but you guys, this was such a good story. It had a happy ending. And what I loved so much about this book is because obviously this is the 4th book in the series, so there are other characters and relationships before Stella and Christian, and you kind of get to add that ending tie to the other stories, which was amazing. So freaking amazing. And I loved that. You got to see everybody's story end in this book. And it was beautiful. And the writing, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it till I can't anymore. Every single book that Anna Wong writes, like, her writing is impeccable. I don't know how she does it. It's mind-blowing that like someone can literally like pull these thoughts out of their head. And there are a few quotes in this book that I do want to share with you guys. I marked them because I'm not like an annotator. Or there was like one quote, I believe. Some of them are not PG-13. Okay, so one of the like beautiful quotes in this book that like I almost cried, okay? This is a note that Christian wrote to Stella. He wrote this for her. I would rather be miserable now after having been loved by you than be happy without having ever known you. That was so sweet. Like, see, he was such a sweet character. Like, wasn't afraid to like show emotion, and I find that to be so beautiful. This book was just so good. I'm gonna have total withdrawals over this series. And like I said, I'm so mad at myself that it took me so long to finally like get